dog, Bolt. I, as a dog trainer, am a little nervous about this episode because I struggled. I was worried because I wanted to make sure my dog, Bolt, was a happy puppy with both people and other dogs, and in being happy around any environment. In fact, the very first thing I did with Bolt is take him to puppy classes and introduce him to all sorts of other dogs and people. And in the very beginning stages, he just didn't seem like he was very reactive to any of this. He seemed very calm about it. He played and he liked playing around other dogs, but a switch flipped. And that can happen with your dog too, where when he got a little bit older, he started to look around a bit more in his world. And that was the thing that was interesting about this whole process, is Bolt never really was fearful behaviorally towards other dogs, but he did get excited around them. And that excitement translated into the behavior of him barking at other dogs, particularly when he was on leash. And we've had to work through this, and we've had to really take our time and be patient. So your dog may not be necessarily fearful behaviorally to other dogs, but maybe it's people, and I can feel your pain. And as a dog trainer, I felt like I did everything right. And I know for you, you probably felt like you've done everything right. You've introduced your dog to family dogs, friends' dogs. You've introduced your dog to other people in your circle and have been totally fine. But then just one day, everything just went upside down and you don't know why. In the dog training community, this is called a fear period. Though this fear period doesn't necessarily happen at a certain time. It doesn't happen necessarily right at 4 months old or 6 months old or even 8 months old. And it doesn't necessarily happen for just 1 month or 3 months. Sometimes it can be a long-lasting training issue that you're dealing with. But don't worry, because we are here to help you out with this, and I'm going to talk you through some of the things I did with Bolt, and I am seeing some success, and there's light on the other side of the tunnel. And one of the things that we did is we utilized distance. We made sure to work at a comfortable distance away from whatever Bolt was fearful of. And we would work on him being within 50 feet of other dogs first, and looking at me, getting reinforcement, and making sure he was seeing the dog at 50 feet, and then getting reinforcement for seeing the dog and the presence of the other dog at 50 feet being reinforcing before I took him closer. And I wasn't necessarily always getting closer and closer every session. One of the mistakes we make with this training process is when the dog starts feeling relaxed or comfortable, we get closer to whatever they were reactive behaviorally to. And what happens over time is the dog starts to realize that when I relax, then the thing that I'm nervous about or not sure about gets closer. And then when I bark, it gets further away. And that's typically what happens, is when our dogs start to bark at something, we get them away from whatever it is. But what happens is our dogs start to learn, to get that thing to go away, I have to bark at it. And then I was just happy to have my friend Amber kind of say, you know what, let's let your dog see my dogs off leash. So we went to an area that was safe for them to run around, and we let him just go have some fun and run around with strange dogs. And I did this with a few other friends of mine, and we started to get him used to that. And this is probably an ideal setup if you can do this. Get your dog to, depending on their level of fear behavior, I was pretty confident that Bolt wasn't going to go over the top and hurt her dogs at all. He's a puppy still, and I needed to kind of nip this in the bud before he got to a point where he was bigger, stronger, and this behavior has increased so much that he would hurt other dogs. But some of you guys might be in a state where you're not sure that if your dog gets close to another dog, that they're not going to just right off the bat hurt them. And if that's the case, I highly recommend you reaching out to a professional in your area to work through this behavior, getting those resources set up for your dog to be successful in this area. And in fact, we have a whole course dedicated to this, and we have a bunch of other courses ready for you to go on Pupford website. So if you guys are interested in that, please feel free to check it out and enjoy the training process with your dog. And to give you an update, Bolt has seemed to relax around other dogs. He's starting to be able not only to be around one dog at 50 feet away, but multiple dogs within 10 feet of him. And I've taken him to dock diving competitions, dog agility competitions, walked him around the whole environment, and he's learning that he doesn't need to engage these other dogs. He doesn't need to react in a barking fashion towards other dogs in these environments. In fact, he's starting to focus more on me. He sees the other dog and he's associated with, if I see the other dog, I get reinforcement from my dad. And other dogs mean getting rewards from my dad. I might as well just relax and get the rewards from my dad. And it's been a great experience, and I hope that this little insight of how my journey and my struggles has helped inspire you. And if you have more questions, feel free to ask us here on Pupford, and we love to get you guys started on the right track for your dog to be successful in every single environment and living life and having fun with you. Thanks for watching here on Pupford Point of View Series. If you want to see more about this series and what's going to happen next, feel free to comment down below what topics you would love to see here on Pupford.